Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Zornick. Today is November 4th, 2019, and this is another episode of the Clubhouse Hosting Developer Diary. So, this week we've got more screens and less talking heads. So, we've got a lot of visuals to show you today, which I'm really happy about. So, in the last episode, I kind of introduced the project, which is Clubhouse Hosting. It is a um, service for group organizers to create a website and home for their groups, along with tools to help manage their membership and event calendar and things of that nature, as long as with general website features for their group. So it's kind of similar to Meetup.com, although in difference, it's more about hosting the website at your own domain with your own brand. Clubhouse hosting is kind of not you're not kind of enwrapped in that shell. It's all about you and your group, and you own the data and you own privacy rules and all that other good stuff. So yeah, so I've been working on this for a while, mostly kind of on the part-time ish scale, and so today I kind of figured I would give you a little bit of a tour of some of the sketches that I started off with, and then kind of show you where the app is currently, and then talk a little bit about where we're headed. So yeah, so what I like to do whenever I start a project is I like to spend a lot of time drawing in the early days, and generally my tool of choice is Balsamiq, which you see here. Um, I like Balsamiq because it lets you work on things while at the same time um, having having the actual the visibility of it be very raw, so it's not people don't take it for too specific as far as like pixel by pixel. It's not the design. This isn't really about building the branding or the design. It's more about building the user experience, and so defining like what choices the user has to make, what choices are available to them, what they can fill in, fill out, how do the errors look, how does success look, and things like that. So when it comes to Clubhouse, which the early days was codenamed Campfire, which you'll see in some of these screenshots, um, there are at the for there are three basic sites. There is first the what I'll call the marketing site, which is the site that a group organizer might find from a Google search or a blog post or some friend of recommendation. That basically they come here, they learn about the service and the software and the features that it offers, and then from there they can create a group. And then the second site is what we would call the group site. So in this case, this is a group site for, Canto Cocoa Heads. And it's got the group's name, a little bit of sign up, sign in features, some page links, description about the group, a join button, and then a list of some upcoming events. Um, And then the third site is the group admin panel. So this is for basically um, if you are an administrator or the owner of a group, you would use the admin panel to kind of edit different details about the event. Some of those details might actually be visible in the public site, and some of them might not be. Um, and you can do this similarly with members or website pages or group settings in some capacity. A lot of things like that. Right now, um, because the feature set is so basic, there's a lot of overlap between what you see on the public group site and on the private group admin panel. But I think as time goes on, you'll see the admin panel kind of evolve to do a lot more things that wouldn't necessarily feel proper on the group site. So, with that in mind, I came in here and started to, sketch out different pages. I didn't spend much time talking about the marketing site yet because I don't know. I mean, it's like down the road. It's something that you know, we obviously need a marketing site, but we don't need it on day one. We need the actual app to work. So I started working on the group site, and the way I kind of work in Balsamiq is I like to create a visual, and then I like to keep like a notes page, like file, not file, but like notes column, and that helps me keep track of. Basically, I want to answer the question like, what is the goal of this page? What is it here to solve? And then I'll usually start by filling out the notes with a bunch of details, and then kind of designing the UI. Um, Eventually, if I'm looking to kind of explore things, what I might do is kind of like build the UI a certain way and then create a version 2 where I kind of change things up a little bit. Sometimes I take out rules. So it's like if I filled it, if I implemented a user interface, let's say with a table view or a list view, I kind of come back and think of like, well, how can I solve this without a list view? And that lets me kind of think of brainstorm a lot of like new ideas and try not to get stuck into a rut of building the same thing the same way over and over again. So here in this example, we're basically kind of sketching out what the website would look like for a signed-in user on the public group site. So we see the logged-in user's name. We see an opportunity to sign out. We see a couple of pages that are of the site. We see the group description, and then the upcoming events, including the date, the title, the venue description, a little summary of the event, a link or button to get to more details, an opportunity to kind of edit the RSVP, and then a little list of like how many people are actually attending the event. There's a different version for the signed out. So like this gets into there's a whole big discussion that is to happen really about deciding like what should be private, what should be public, and what kind of privacy toggles can we give a group organizer. So like in this example, we've decided that we're going to list the events. We're going to preview those to somebody to the page when somebody's not logged in, but we're going to kind of hide the details of how many people are going and then who those people are until they're actually like logged in. But on the other hand, we could still give them the ability to RSVP. So even if they're not a member of the organization, they can still RSVP to an event and kind of come to an event, as a non-member. And then maybe if they like it, then they can become a member. But all of that is probably in time going to be kind of like permission toggles and stuff. But, by drawing these things out, you kind of can think a lot about those ideas really quickly and iterate through them. And yeah, so I sketched out a bunch of different pages. Going back to the marketing site. So eventually on the marketing site, you would hit a link that says, I want to create a group. And so my first kind of shot at this was this kind of form where you fill in the group name, the website address, and then who the group administrator or owner is going to be. And then in the right column here, there would be some help text. And this is actually a pattern I really would hope to work into the design a lot, so that like as you're highlighting certain fields or jumping around, you're getting helpful text that kind of describes, gives you some good suggestions on like what you should fill in there. Things like this, it kind of is pretty basic, but just even letting the user know that like, you can change this group name at a later time without a lot of, like a lot of theatrics, I think is helpful. So this is our first shot. Eventually, I kind of broke it up into 2 steps. Partially that was technical reasons, and so now you kind of would go in, you'll create your group, and then once you create your group, you're actually forwarded to the group site, and the group site at that moment will have 0 members, and so you will create the first member of the group, which is kind of like the owner of the group, and you'll provide your first name, last name, email, and a password. You'll join the group, and then from that point on, you're the admin, and so you can view not only the plain site but the admin panel. So the admin panel, when I was working on it, kind of looked a little something like this. Let me just delete this. Show you a little bit. So the general idea, we would have some branding up at the top, and then we'd have some major sections. So we've got a dashboard, events, members, and website. And so events being like a very big noun of the project. You can browse upcoming and previous events. And then as you look into you can look into the details of an event. And again, we've got the start time and the end time, the venue, a little description about it, and then a list of the RSVPs that are attending. And then if you want to edit it, there's like an edit button up there, and then that would bring you to a form, something like this, where you can type in the name, start, ends at, which actually I changed later to be duration, and then with some RSVP settings. You'll notice whenever you have a form, you have this kind of column on the side with showing you like tasks and recommendations. Even with the event itself, when you're looking at the details, there's kind of like a to-do list of like, get the speakers, confirm the venue, publish the announcement. I would really like in time for this like website to kind of like handhold you through good practices of a group, and a lot of these tasks will be editable, and you can turn these things off if if you're really bothered by them. But I think for a lot of group organizers, it helps to have that kind of nudge to do something, to kind of send that follow-up email, and hopefully the task system, which has yet to be defined in detail. This is kind of just a preview of it. We'll kind of do that. So that's events, and then there's also obviously browsing of members, member details, like their email and when they joined, the last time they visited the site, which is kind of like there will be, like, my goal there is to kind of keep very thin analytics, but just enough to help like who's active and what they're doing, and you can see that with this panel. This is like on every page. You can see like the recent events and which ones they attended, which ones they didn't. And similar to events, this should be highlighted as members, but like there'll be member tasks. So it's like, reach out to, like, one general recommendation might be to kind of reach out to a member every 6 months to kind of see where they are and see what they like, and ask them some questions about like the group and things. So that's that. Other kind of top level features. Let me delete this again. Are website pages. So when you saw on the public site, you saw these links up at the top. The general idea is that like you should be able to add arbitrary pages to the website. So like you'll get some out of the box, which will be things like events and the membership directory. But if you want to add something special for a contest you're running, or a special thing, or a contact us page, or an about page, you should have the behavior to do that. You'll see that here in the sketches. You won't see that in the UI that is of them currently working out, because those are kind of like features to be developed. But that's the general guide of where I'm headed. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I really want to show for now. Next up, let's see. How much time? Actually, it's been a while. All right. Well, you know what? It took me a little bit longer to go through the UI sketches than I thought, so I'm going to actually cut it there, and we're going to do another video where we'll actually go through the working app as it stands today. Next time, maybe towards the end of the week. So for me, moving forward, my goals for the next couple days, I need to clean up the public-facing parts of the app, because I would really like to get the first deployment on the server. I have enough working things. I have behavior where you can basically create group. You can invite members. Members can invite themselves via a join form. You can create events. The public website is basic but usable. but I do need to kind of clean up a couple more loose ends there, get the deployment working, then work on more stylization options. And then specifically, I need to work on features for RSVP and email. Those are kind of like the high priorities for me. And marketing things. So I always try to balance my to-do list with technology features plus marketing work. Part of the marketing is actually this video. I really want to get that out. And but the other big part of it is customer conversations. So I've had on my to-do list for a while that I keep kicking the can on, to try to set up some meetings with some existing meetup organizers, some that I know, some that I don't know, and just trying to have some conversations with them. Not really about the product per se, but just more about like the group and how it runs, and try to fish for information on like what they're currently using. Most of them are using Meetup, but like how they like it, what they don't like. Over time, if they are engaged, then maybe show them a little bit of the working app. But early on, I want the conversations to be pretty generic about their meetup groups. So that's big on my list. And then working on some blog posts. I've been posting a couple kind of generic articles on like different things that are interesting to group organizers, like how to better keep your RSVP list and how to find speakers and stuff like that. I have a lot of topics there that I've got drafted up into kind of like outlines that need to be kind of fleshed out into actual blog posts. So lot to work on, lot to do. Still feel like I'm on schedule to kind of get the private beta of this up and running in November, and feeling pretty good about that. So yeah, I want to thank you all for your watching this and your interest. And if you've got any questions or feedback, let me know. Other than that, I will see you next time. Bye bye.